most Newcastle Lake Macquarie people grew up with the beautiful backdrop of the Sugarloaf Range. It's important that this be protected, not only for the lifestyles of current people who live in Newcastle Lake Macquarie, but for future generations. We have a unique opportunity to protect and preserve a very special resource here in the Lower Hunter, a green corridor that would enrich and sustain us. But first of all, what is the Green Corridor and where is it?
The Green Corridor runs parallel to the Lower Hunter coastline. From Port Stephens in the north, it extends southwest through Tomago, Hexham, Kooragang Island, Minmi and Mount Sugarloaf, down to the Waddingans.
Protection of the Green Corridor is vital for the local economy, with tangible community benefits such as water quality benefits, flood mitigation, fisheries, tourism, recreation, as well as coping with climate change. It's important that we get habitat protected across the landscape so that when climate change really hits, that species have a chance to adapt and survive by shifting across the landscape. To find out about how protecting the Green Corridor can help our local fishing industry, let's go and talk to a local fisherman.
Hexham Swamp was traditionally connected to the Hunter River, so it was largely a estuarine wetlands, a tidal wetlands. So it had a lot of diversity. It had freshwater on one side, saltwater on the other, and a mix in the middle. About 1971, when part of the Hunter Valley Flood Mitigation Scheme came into play, and they drained the Hexham Swamps for cattle grazing by putting a set of floodgates in the Ironbark Creek and also some of these secondary creeks further up along the Hunter River. Yeah, for some reason the eastern king prawns like the Hexham Swamp, largely I guess because of the brackish water. When the swamp was drained, that was the end of that. No more prawns come out of Hexham Swamp, so that was finished. It wasn't just a valuable thing to the local fishing industry, it was also to the ocean's biomass of the fishing industry all the way up the coast. You know, it had a far-reaching effect. It's been a bad thing for the fishing industry and the food supply, but also the bird life. I mean, this was a wonderful drought refuge swamp. We're trying to reconnect, you know, the swamps with the river again, and just get the whole thing as it used to be. We're starting to get better flows in the creeks, and a lot of the lagoons are starting to open up, and we're getting the open water. We're getting what used to be there in the first place, which is a lot of salt marsh coming back, which is good stuff. I've noticed already up on those couple of creeks we've got flowing, one in particular, I was up there the other day and there was a few small prawns starting to flip around. But, you know, it'll probably take a few years before they get used to coming back up in here again. This is where the corridor, the Green Corridor from Stockton Bight through to the Waddingans is a very important thing for protection of Hexham Swamp. If we can get the powers that be to recognise that Hexham Swamp has got to be protected on a slightly broader scale, a broader area, well, so be it. But you know, it's something that they've got to take seriously.
So protecting this Green Corridor is important for a whole range of species, including bird species, and Newcastle is lucky that we've got a whole range of migratory species that come down all the way from Siberia to have their summer holidays in Newcastle. And maybe we should go and talk to one of the bird observers that knows all about this.
So global temperatures have risen by 0.76 degrees in the past 100 years. And scientists are predicting they'll increase between 2 and 4 degrees by 2099. This will affect many bird habitats. I'm going to talk specifically about migratory shorebirds. Each year these birds fly between a breeding area in the northern hemisphere and a wintering range in the southern. For some, this round trip is 29,000 kilometres. General and intertidal wetlands are crucial for these migratory birds. The climate change will affect the location and size of these wetlands and the salt marsh that is crucial for their nesting, feeding and roosting. We need to plan for these changes now and understand that the coastline will move further inland, and that is why we need a green corridor to protect suitable areas for further industrial, agricultural and residential development, not just for these robust and frequent flyers, but for people too who use these areas for tourism, recreation and educational pursuits.
So the 50 groups in the Green Corridor Coalition have been successful in getting the Green Corridor listed in the Lower Hunter Regional Strategy and also in the Regional Conservation Plan, but now we need government to act on that. We need governments to enforce and protect those areas that are listed in those two strategy documents of the state government. Some of the outstanding specific land matters include the status of the private land owned by Coal and Allied, the widening of the link between Sugarloaf State Conservation Area and the Wattigans National Park, the New South Wales government-owned ex-BHP land on the eastern side of the F3 freeway, the Sugarloaf State Conservation Area pocket of land reserved for an open-cut coal mine, the tank paddock and land around Blue Gum Hills Regional Park, Hunter Water-owned area of wetlands near Minmai, almost 3,000 hectares of Hexham wetlands west of the old railway embankment needs to be purchased and added to the Hunter Estuary National Park. Tomago's sandbed land owned by Hunter Water needs to be included in the Green Corridor protected area. And the long-promised reserving of Stockton Bight National Park. In terms of some very practical matters that the government needs to take to protect our Green Corridor, we need to look at ecological function across the Green Corridor, which includes looking at land bridges across things like the F3 freeway, but also land management issues such as weeds, managing weeds and managing the use of the land across the Green Corridor. So I urge you to visit the Green Corridor website, to even join the Green Corridor Coalition, but importantly, lobby your state MPs to protect the Green Corridor.